Hi, welcome to another episode of Sit Downs with City Lifestyle Vegas Edition. I'm Camila Soleil Ray, and I have the Southern Nevada Water Authority here in our studio today, bringing to you the latest in everything water. And to talk to us about that, we have none other than Bronson Mack. He is the public outreach guy of the Southern Nevada Water District. How did I do?
That was great, Camilla. Public outreach dude is a little more my aesthetic, but that's okay. We can go with public outreach guy. We're good with that.
Very good. Well, thanks so much for taking the time. I know you are super busy. The water cycles or phases or not calendar schedules, they change often here in Vegas. We're going to talk about that.
You bet.
But before we dive into water, that was a great pun. Before we dive into water, tell us a little bit about you and how long have you worked there?
Well, I have been in Las Vegas since I was 14 years old.
Okay.
I am a desert rat through and through. I moved from the Sonoran Desert to this beautiful Mojave Desert. Did all of my schooling here, junior high, high school, UNLV graduate. I've been with the Southern Nevada Water Authority for about 23 years.
Wow.
Doing public outreach. And, before that, I was a pool man.
Oh, wow. So from water to water.
Yeah, from water to water.
Are you a water sign too?
No, not necessarily. I'm a bit more of a Scorpio.
Okay.
If that's where you were going
Yeah.
with that. But, really, it was my time, growing up in the desert, understanding the value of water, and then working as a pool man. And being able to go into people's backyards. And I just did the chemicals. I didn't actually clean the pools. But along with that, I would pick up side jobs to drain and refill customer pools, do acid wash, things like that. And that really helped me better understand the rules and regulations associated with draining swimming pools and our local water cycle and recycling water. And that really kind of teed me up to be able to get an internship with the Southern Nevada Water Authority as a student at UNLV. And I've been there ever since. And now I'm managing a very productive and wonderful team of public outreach coordinators. And our job is really to work to educate the community on water and water conservation.
I love that. So there's a lot of sustainability talk then around what you guys do. Right. So tell us about the core of Southern Nevada Water District. Like what is its mission?
Well, the Southern Nevada Water Authority's mission is to manage our region's water resources in a sustainable, adaptive, and responsible manner while providing world-class service to our customers. We are the wholesale water provider for the community, and it was formed in 1991. And the whole reason that the Water Authority was formed in 91 was that all of our individual water utilities in Southern Nevada, City of Henderson, City of North Las Vegas, the Las Vegas Valley Water District, Boulder City as well, they all had contracts for Colorado River water with the federal government. And there was still some unallocated water for Nevada that was available.
Okay.
And Henderson wanted it, and the Las Vegas Valley Water District wanted it. And so they were competing with one another really to drive up their water use to demonstrate their need for this additional water. And the federal government really is the one that came to Southern Nevada and said, hey, you guys need to get your house in order. We don't care who this remaining water goes to. You guys figure that out and come let us know. And so all of those municipalities and water utilities got together.
Okay.
And they all agreed that they would put their water rights for Colorado River water in the bucket in the middle of the room. And they would pool those water rights together. And then they would form a regional wholesale water provider to manage all of those water rights collectively.
Okay.
Because it's really a matter of reducing the competition amongst the municipalities and increasing the cooperation. And the Southern Nevada Water Authority in its formation really is a model for other communities that have various jurisdictions, various water utilities. They have, competitive issues and water resource issues. And this really does allow us all to be in the same boat, rowing in the same direction. And it's also a reason why the conservation rules in Henderson are the exact same as the conservation rules in North Las Vegas.
Okay, interesting. And what are the conservation rules?
Well, there is a wide array of them, and it kind of depends on, what element of water we're talking about. When we think about water conservation in Southern Nevada, we can actually boil it down to one key thing, and that's your outdoor water use.
Okay.
You see, our indoor water use is all reclaimed, recycled, and we return that back to Lake Mead. Everything that we use indoors is what we call non-consumptive water use. What we use outdoors is what we actually consume. It's kind of strange to think of it that way. It's almost silly to think about the fact that, wait a second, this water just went down the drain. How are you telling me that's not consumed?
Right.
And that's because everything that gets in the wastewater collection system or the sewer system, same thing, wastewater collection system, sewer system, all of that water gets treated by our various wastewater utilities, the City of Henderson, the City of North Las Vegas, Clark County Water Reclamation District, and the City of Las Vegas. And those agencies do such a good job treating that wastewater to near drinking water standards that we can safely return that water back to Lake Mead through the Las Vegas wash. And every gallon that we return to Lake Mead gives us a credit. And we can then take another gallon out of Lake Mead and bring it through the drinking water treatment process and deliver it to the valley. Our indoor water use is a perpetual motion machine.
So what I heard was that, and I use it as expression a lot because I have a therapeutic background, but what I heard is that you guys treat the water after it's been used by the household to almost drinking standard, dump it back into Lake Mead. So Lake Mead has drinking water standard?
Lake Mead?
Almost? Or
not quite.
Okay. Because I was like, what?
Because you have to keep in mind that Lake Mead is an ecosystem, and that is what we call surface water.
Okay.
That is water that started as snowmelt in the Colorado Rockies.
Oh, there's a bunch of stuff.
Made its way down the Colorado River system, passed through the Grand Canyon, and as it passed through the Grand Canyon, it picked up a lot of minerals.
Of course.
Right? A lot of calcium, a lot of magnesium. It's what makes our water hard.
Yeah.
And then that water sits in Lake Mead, right? So that's surface water. It's an ecosystem. And then we are returning treated wastewater, treated effluent.
So it's mixed.
Back there.
It's mixed over there. Okay. So after the water leaves Lake Mead, it's treated then again.
Once we draw that water from Lake Mead and bring that into our drinking water treatment plants, we're then able to take that water and make it drinking water standards that meet or surpass the safety standards established under the Safe Drinking Water Act. That's what makes our water safe for us to consume. But our water has a taste.
Yes, that was gonna be my next point.
It has a taste.
Yeah. Even though it has a taste and a consistency, it's different, right? It's not only the taste, it's a little heavier than your regular water.
It is.
But regardless, it's still safe to drink.
I made both of my children's baby bottles, every single one of them with tap water.
That's super interesting to know because I see a lot of people buying bottled water. And quite honestly, I have been unable lately to drink water from plastic bottles because the taste of plastic has been so, for me, prominent that I can't. But now that I know, and my dad, he comes visit me from Brazil, and he's like, I can drink this water from the tap. I'm like, no, Dad, don't do that. Don't do that. You got to filter the water. But now you're telling me that it's safe to drink it.
Yeah, it is. It is absolutely safe to drink. But the water that we do deliver, it has a couple of things in it.
Tell me about them.
One is chlorine.
Okay.
We use sodium hypochlorite as a disinfection and water treatment process. And what that does is it helps ensure that the water that is passing through more than 7,000 miles of pipelines throughout this valley, from reservoirs through pumping stations and ultimately reaching your taps, that water continues to be water that is inhospitable for bacteria.
Okay.
Right? Because you can get bacterial growth, you can get Giardia or like a Legionella type of issue. And so the chlorination of the water helps to maintain the quality of the water as it gets delivered.
Okay.
The other thing is our water is hard. That's calcium and that's magnesium. And that calcium and magnesium, that's ultimately what leaves the little water spots on your shower doors or on your glasses after you pull them out of the dishwasher.
Like little white.
It's that white crusty buildup that you get. And just keep in mind that the calcium and magnesium are naturally occurring. They get picked up through the Colorado River system. When water evaporates, what evaporates is the H2O, and what gets left behind is calcium and magnesium, and that doesn't evaporate away. So that ultimately is what leaves the spots. So a water softener at your home is something that would change the aesthetic of that water and remove that calcium and magnesium through an ion exchange, but you're not going to drink soft water. So if you did have concern and wanted to improve the taste, you really have two options. You have an active carbon filter.
Okay.
This is the kind of thing that you see on a refrigerator and a water dispenser on a refrigerator that you have to change out.
Yeah.
Also a Brita filter, that's an active carbon filter, and that's going to reduce that chlorine taste. And then you also have the option of a reverse osmosis system.
Oh, the RO.
RO, yeah. And you can find an RO system for anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 depending on the manufacturer. We recommend that you go with somebody that's reputable, somebody that'll give you a warranty. You do need to maintain it annually, but that calcium and magnesium gets completely removed through the reverse osmosis process. In fact, the bottled water that you drink is reverse osmosis water. But then they add calcium and magnesium back to it.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, to give the water some taste.
No kidding.
Yeah, because just pure RO water, especially from a bottled water facility, it doesn't have a taste, and it's actually not particularly good to drink. So they add minerals back to it for taste, and it even says that on most of the labels. So.
Okay.
And here's one other fact about the quality of our drinking water. Every single day, there are water quality technicians that are in neighborhoods all over Southern Nevada collecting water samples. We collect more than 55,000 water samples every single year, and we conduct more than 300,000 analyses on those samples to make sure that the water that is in the distribution system that is coming out of your taps meets or surpasses state and federal drinking water standards. So the commitment that we have to the quality of our water quality laboratory, the chemists, the scientists, the microbiologists that are in that lab every single day doing sampling and testing and analysis on our water is just one of those other things that helps me feel very, very confident enough that I made, again, all of my kids' baby bottles with tap water.
Wow, that is really fascinating. I had no idea about any of this.
Yeah.
Very good. And how do you decide, how did you come to the decision of how many days a week you can water plants, and how often does that change, et cetera?
So every single season, summer, spring, fall, winter, we all have to change our irrigation clocks. And, we do see such seasonal variability within our climate here. Summer's extremely hot.
Yeah.
Winter, obviously, quite a bit cooler for us. So the analysis that was done in the early 2000s, looking at seasonal watering restrictions, really took into account what are the needs of the various types of plants and trees that we have in our valley, as well as grass. What are those needs during times of 100-degree days, during times of less than 50-degree days, as well as looking at the angles of the sun, which does change with each season.
Yes.
And that changing of the angle of the sun also reduces the amount of solar radiation. And the soils then below surface in the fall and in the winter, they retain moisture much longer than they do in the summer months.
Okay.
So through that analysis and working with our green industry here, landscapers, horticulturists, arborists, we developed our seasonal watering restrictions. And we are currently in winter watering. And in winter watering, you only need to irrigate 1 day a week. Your grass, your trees, your plants will do just fine on 1 day a week. And then, of course, as we go into spring and even in fall, you can water up to 3 days a week. And summertime, it's any day but Sunday.
Yeah.
And, our plants actually need it because it is
it's
so
super
hot during those
we
times.
need it. Like, we need to stay hydrated, and so do our plants.
Exactly. And that's one of the challenges with the seasonal watering restrictions is simply that it requires all of us in our community, everybody that lives here, every homeowner, every tenant that is responsible for the landscaping at their property. It requires us all to go out and do one particular behavior 4 times a year, and that's go to the sprinkler clock and change the number of days that you're watering. And it has such an immense impact on our water resources. I mean, we go from delivering hundreds of millions of gallons of water in the summer down to delivering, closer to, the lower hundreds of millions. We're talking about big water savings that we get just by performing that simple behavior. And of course, you get even more water savings if you are a property owner that has replaced your grass landscape with drip irrigated trees and plants. That's the number one thing that you can do on a more permanent basis to help contribute to conservation.
And I know that it wasn't so long ago that you guys kind of imposed the replacement of grass, natural grass, for turf, it's my understanding that there's another alternative, like the sod, micro clover. I think that's how you call those plants. But the turf, how long ago was that this imposition came about?
So the Southern Nevada Water Authority has been incentivizing grass conversions, replacing grass with drip irrigated trees and plants. We've been doing that since 1999.
Oh, really? I thought
now
it was
it's
something
voluntary.
more. Oh, voluntary.
It's been totally on a voluntary basis. And we have had more than 245 million square feet of grass removed from this valley.
245 million?
Yeah, it's about 200 billion gallons of water that program has saved.
Wow.
And so we have seen tens of thousands of property owners voluntarily replacing that grass with drip irrigated trees and plants, right?
Since the 90s then?
Since the late 90s.
Okay.
Now in 2021, the Nevada legislature passed a law that says all HOAs, commercial properties, and multifamily residential, apartments and condos, they are now required to replace their grass with drip irrigated trees and plants. And that is because residents have been very responsive. Residents have been replacing their grass. Commercial customers, HOAs,
not so much.
Very, very slow.
Okay.
Yeah, very, very slow. And they really haven't been responsive to even when we've increased our incentives. Right now, it's $5 a square foot for residents, apartments and condos and HOAs and commercial. It's $2 right now for them. And that is because they have had 4 years to take out their grass at a higher rebate amount. And we've still got, a couple hundred acres of what we call non-functional grass. This is grass, like I said, at a commercial complex, right? A business park.
Right.
Nobody is having a picnic on that grass or kicking a soccer ball on that grass. That grass is just drinking our water supply. It's purely aesthetic. And also, nobody chooses what dentist they're going to go to or the shopping mall that they're going to go to because, oh, look, they have grass. I'm going there, right? So it doesn't even make business sense for commercial properties to have grass.
Aside from the aesthetic, like you mentioned.
But if you think about it, trees and plants, you can get flowering plants in there. You can bring in more diversity, right?
For sure.
And with those flowering plants, I mean, the bees and the hummingbirds really appreciate it as well.
Yeah. So turf is an alternative that is the homeowner's choice.
Yeah.
Or the business, whatever. You guys are just telling them that they need to remove the grass and either replant trees and the dripping water thingies.
Yeah, drip irrigation.
Drip irrigation, thank you. Or turf, if they choose to.
And when you say turf, we're talking about a synthetic grass
Yes.
or an artificial grass.
Yes.
Now, we do allow artificial grass in our Water Smart Landscape rebate program, but it doesn't replace the requirement that once the real grass comes out, that area has to be revegetated with trees and plants that provide 50% canopy coverage. We do need to have some living plant material in there to
that's super
qualify for the
important.
program.
Yeah, okay.
But you can have artificial grass as your ground covering rather than a decomposed granite or a gravel or a rock mulch type of ground covering. So, and the community asked us to utilize or to allow artificial grass to be used as a ground covering because so many homeowners wanted to have that available to them as an option.
Wow, so not only are you guys then helping the community and to save water, but also with this 50% shade,
Yeah.
you're maintaining natural, like nature,
That's
right? And the more shade, the more green that you have, the
right.
healthier an environment is. That's
And-
amazing.
And it helps to reduce the impacts of our urban heat island.
Yes.
Right? Las Vegas is a built environment. There's a lot of asphalt here. There's a lot of concrete. You know, we have a lot of parking lots and parking garages and rooftops and block walls. And we have all of these hardscapes that retain heat during the day.
Yeah.
And then it radiates that heat overnight. And that causes our overnight temperatures to not get as low as they would be if Las Vegas didn't exist. And then with those overnight temperatures not getting as low, we start the day warmer and we hit our peak high temperatures earlier and sustain them longer throughout the day, especially in summer. So shade is one of the number one things we can do, shading our hardscapes to help reduce the amount of heat that gets absorbed by those hardscapes.
And I saw in the news that there was an incentive. They were giving out trees to plant or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, what we have seen throughout Southern Nevada, Clark County, City of Henderson, North Las Vegas, all of our municipalities, the City of Las Vegas, they all have these very, very strong initiatives for sustainability. And part of that includes increasing our tree canopy. Our urban forest in Las Vegas really is one of the thinnest tree canopies of any municipal area. You know, just go to the outskirts of the valley and look at the undeveloped areas. Look at our native vegetation that we have in our undeveloped areas. You will not find a tree.
We're a desert.
That we
you don't
are
have
a
trees
desert,
in the desert, right?
So all of our trees are in our urban built environment. They are all being irrigated with our water supply, but they are providing shade and they are providing urban wildlife habitat. So it's really important, and especially as we see these temperatures from climate change continue to increase, there are many species of existing trees in Southern Nevada that are not going to adapt to our warmer and drier climate.
Oh, wow.
The Mondale pine, the Afghan pine, the purple leaf plum, the elm tree. These are trees that we have an abundance of in the valley, and we are already seeing the signs of the stress of those trees. Just look at the pine trees throughout the valley. When you can see every single pine cone on those trees because the foliage on the tree is much thinner, those are trees that have been experiencing heat stress over the past couple of years, and especially that summer of 2023 that we had, which was, or 24, excuse me,
Last
that
year.
was excessively hot.
Yeah, it was super hot. This year, not so much. We were like, oh my God, such a mild summer.
Pretty pleasant this year.
Yes, very pleasant, very pleasant. And to start wrapping up our conversation, which has been fascinating, very educational, I'm sure our listeners and followers are fascinated. Do you guys have a foundation? Do you guys do any work in the community? Do you partner with other nonprofits, or do you favor any nonprofits in the community?
Well, a lot of what we do with the Southern Nevada Water Authority is forming partnerships with various organizations. They are mostly, we ourselves are a nonprofit organization.
Okay.
We are a not-for-profit water utility, water service provider. And so a lot of what we're putting our efforts into and our partnerships are working with those organizations that can help further advance water conservation for the valley.
Okay.
These are like professional groups like NAOP or BOMA, our chambers of commerce, the Urban Chamber, Asian Chamber, Metro Chamber, Henderson Chamber, North Las Vegas Chamber. And that really helps us to be able to get our message out, especially to the business community, which again has been a little slow in being responsive to all of the conservation needs of the valley. But at the same time, we've had great partnerships with the Clark County School District. The school district has put forth effort to replace all of their fields with an artificial sports turf that does not use any water. I mean, the school district alone is saving hundreds of millions of gallons of water every single year. And then, of course, we have the Springs Preserve. And so the Springs Preserve, which is operated by the Las Vegas Valley Water District, as a public education facility on the history of water in Las Vegas and our history here in this desert. We do quite a bit of different partnerships with low-income folks, with different charitable organizations, giving them opportunities to bring individuals to the Springs Preserve at no cost or very low cost for a good visitorship experience.
Wonderful. You guys do so much in the community. I'm so glad I had you on to share all this, knowledge and expertise with me and our followers. I'm really fascinated, and you helped me start viewing the Southern Nevada Water Authority differently.
And I hope that you even view water a little bit differently.
Super differently,
right?
yes. I'm encouraged to now, well, I wasn't buying bottles of water, but start educating people. I know people don't like to be educated unless they ask, right? But at least I know some information that is very useful for everybody.
Camilla, thank you so much for having me.
No, thanks so much for being here. And thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this episode, please share with people you know. Everybody needs water, so this information is going to be useful for everybody. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned for our next episode. See you later.